is here. Now, broadcasting from the underground command post, deep in the bowels of a hidden bunker, somewhere under the brick and steel of a nondescript building, we've once again made contact with our leader, Mark Levin.
Hello, everybody. Mark Levin here. Our number, 877-381-3811, 877-381-3811. Does it seem curious that we have three accusers, one all of a sudden at the 11th hour before the hearing tomorrow? And now the media ask, well, there's three, Mr. President. That's a pattern. Why do you always side with the men? Now, of course, this has nothing to do with anything, those sorts of questions. They're intended to create an impression about the president and the accusers. Not a single one of these accusers is credible. None of them. None of them. And I dare say that when it comes to Kavanaugh, these are fabrications. That is, one or more of these women may not have a really good memory, but they're sitting around with lawyers and others who are promoting a particular position. You've seen it done in some of these cases in the past where people have been attacked for abusing the process. You've had, from time to time, police officers have done it. Not often, but you get the point. That's why they now videotape these interrogations. You even had it with little kids at these different daycare centers. Well, the Democrats are doing, I think, exactly the same thing here. Either that, or we have a serious issue of credibility with at least one or two, and perhaps all three of these women. And I say it because it's the truth. We have a Ms. Zwetnick who has come forward now. She's apparently represented by Michael Avenatti, the slip-and-fall porn lawyer. And as Jim Garrity says at National Review on the Corner, the accuser contends she attended at least 10 house parties over a 3-year period that began when Kavanaugh was 15 or 16 years old. And by the way, she was 18 or 19 years old. She contends that similar parties, quote, occurred nearly every weekend during the school year. Nearly every weekend. So it's very odd because her declaration indicates that she was in college. So she was going back from college to high school. It appears that the declaration is somewhat confused. Nearly every weekend. She contends Kavanaugh and his friends engaged in criminal activities, including sexual assault, quote, on numerous occasions, unquote. From that description, it sounds like she witnessed sexual assaults and then continued to attend the parties. She contends Kavanaugh and Mark Judge, his friend, obtained either alcohol or drugs such as Quaaludes to spike the punch at these parties. She contends numerous boys, quote-unquote, were involved in multiple acts of sexual assault and literally lined up outside the room to wait their turn to commit sexual assault. And as far as we know, not a single one of these victims or witnesses ever called a police officer. Not a single victim or witness, as far as we know, ever told their parents, teachers, any other responsible adult. As far as we know, this accuser is the only person who ever attended these parties who's ever come forward making this claim. Amazing. Nothing relating to this multi-year conspiracy to commit repeated acts of ritualized sexual assault, repeated felonies, ever came up in 6 FBI background checks or White House security clearance checks. Ms. Wetnick is not believable. We're talking about individuals, not women generally. We're talking about her. She's not believable. Questions for Ms. Wetnick. Who are these scores of other victims? Can you name any? Question. Why would you keep attending parties where you knew there were gang rapes taking place. Question. Your declaration or affidavit dates. You graduated high school, and yet gang rapes were occurring over the weekends, and you were in college and you went back to high school to still go to those parties? How do you explain that? Question. Having read your declaration, where are the specifics? You don't say Kavanaugh was in the room. You don't even say Kavanaugh was at a particular party. You don't even say Kavanaugh was directly involved. Nothing. And this is all over the media. The New York Times looked at the Swetnick case. You know what they said? In part, none of Ms. Swetnick's claims could be independently corroborated by the New York Times, and her lawyer, Michael Avenatti, declined to make her available for an interview. No witnesses, no corroboration, no specifics. That's the pattern. That's the pattern. Ms. Ramirez, the New York Times took a pass on her, too. They interviewed many people from Yale. They couldn't corroborate Ramirez's claims with a single one of them. So they didn't run the story. The New Yorker did. No witnesses, no corroboration, no evidence. And she was brought forth by the Senate Democrats and yet has declined to appear at the hearing. And for 6 days, first she couldn't remember specifics, couldn't remember Kavanaugh, but for 6 days when they were done with her, her memory clarified. After 35 years. Dr. Ford wanted her privacy, so everybody knows when you want your privacy, you go to the Washington Post, and that's exactly what she did. No witnesses, no corroboration. That's the pattern. Really no specifics or few specifics about dates and times and places, etc. 36 years ago in high school. Never mentioned Brett Kavanaugh's full name even to her therapist in 2012. But she took a lie detector and those results were released. Well, that lie detector was a joke. There were 2 questions. And I want to remind you, lie detectors are unreliable. Aldrich Ames, you remember him, a spy? He passed a lie detector test. So that doesn't mean anything, particularly in this case where there's 2 questions asked. Now, when it comes to Kavanaugh, no due process, no presumption of innocence. He's had 6 FBI background investigations. None of these women, none of their allegations, nobody else made these kinds of accusations. But those 6 FBI background investigations are apparently irrelevant. We need a new one just in time for the midterm elections so we can drag this over the elections and block the president from getting his nominee. And I was the first to play what Joe Biden said in 1991 about one of these last-minute FBI investigations. He said they're absolutely useless. They delayed all of this until after the close of the confirmation hearings. Ford, Ramirez, now Swetnick at the last second. I don't believe any of it. I do not believe any of it. The same people, the Democrat senators, members of this committee, their staffers, their surrogates, among the lawyers in and around Washington, D.C., their surrogates in the media, they're all involved in all this. They're all involved in all these cases. I don't believe one of them. None of them. And neither would a juror, and neither would a judge. And neither should you. But, ladies and gentlemen, 20 Republican senators are unsure. They're unsure. They're just not sure. 20. 20 Republican senators aren't sure. And for the Democrats, that's all that matters. You don't matter. I don't matter. We're smarter than those senators. We've got this all figured out. We know exactly what's going on. 20 Republican senators are unsure what to do. Our fellow Americans need to understand this is not only about destroying Kavanaugh, as I've mentioned. It's a warning to all would-be conservatives or Republicans or Trump supporters, Trump nominees, that if you come forward, you can expect to be destroyed if you dare to serve. This is a message. This is a warning. This is a threat. I'll be right back.
Mark Levin.
I think Ms. Wetnick's declaration is so preposterous, so over the top, that it puts the lie to all of us. Any serious person who's not one of these left-wing obsessed type people who just cannot be convinced of the truth, a drone, if you will. This just puts the lie to the whole thing. It utterly lacks specifics, and yet she talks about gang rapes at parties every weekend. Everybody knew about it every weekend. She's in college, although she didn't mean to reveal this. She's in college, and she goes back to the high school for these parties where rapes are occurring every weekend. And everybody knows it. Nobody reports anything. And she keeps going back to the parties. I mean, even a liberal Democrat United States Senator should be able to comprehend how preposterous that is. Why would you keep attending rape parties? And you're in college going back to this high school weekend after weekend after weekend. And nobody talks to their parents. Nobody goes to the cops. Nobody talks to the principal. Nobody talks to anybody in authority. They just all mum up. Is that believable to any of you? To any of you? No witnesses? No witnesses named? Nothing. This is crazy land. Then we have Ms. Ramirez. Not a single person can corroborate her allegation. How do we know? Well, because the great New York Times said so. They tried. And in the New Yorker itself, in the smear piece, they couldn't corroborate it. No actual witnesses. No evidence. And she was found by the Democrats in the Senate Judiciary Committee and their staff. And it all started with Dr. Ford. No witnesses, no corroboration, no specifics. 36 years ago. Never mentioned Brett Kavanaugh, even to her therapist, as recently as 2012. You have three witnesses. Excuse me. You have three accusers and no witnesses. You have three accusers and no corroboration. What is this? You know what it is. You know exactly what it is. Let's go to Bob, Monmouth, New Jersey, the great WABC. Go ahead.
Hello, Mark. Thank you for taking my call.
Okay.
Great show. I just wanted to say, if this woman was an adult going to these parties where children were drugging others and raping others, even if she doesn't have a legal duty, she's got an ethical duty to warn people of this. Don't you agree?
Well, you would think, wouldn't you?
Yeah.
In the case of Switnick you're talking about, the last one, shouldn't she warn people to stay away from there rather than attending these parties weekend after weekend after weekend?
Yes, and also...
She's utterly and completely unbelievable. Is she lying? I think she is. In my personal opinion.
I think so also. But the other point is, you think, I mean, if, I don't believe it, so I'm not even going to go there.
All right, my friend. Thank you for your call. Let us go to Jim, Austin, Texas, on XM Satellite. Go ahead.
thank you very much, Mark, for taking my call. I appreciate everything you do for us.
All right.
A couple of things really quick. Number one, can we have a background check on all of these accusers to see if they've ever provided false information?
Yeah, but if we do that, it plays in the Democrats' hands. Background checks, they come up empty. They can't really lock in these arguments. And we get no further, and we kill a month. And then they kill off Kavanaugh because we can't get him confirmed.
Exactly. Well, number two, really quick, can their bank accounts be checked to see if all of a sudden they've been...
No, I wouldn't worry about that.
Well, it all depends on...
I would like to know who's paying all these lawyers. That would help.
Okay, well...
All right. Thank you for your call. Let's stay focused here. Let's stay focused on what's been presented to us. What's been presented to us? Nothing. What's been presented? No wonder the Democrats and the media keep saying no due process, no presumption of innocence, throw the justice system out the window because they want their accusations to stand without significant or serious challenge. That's why. The president must not withdraw Kavanaugh's name. The Republicans must confirm him. And I will be keeping very close notes on who votes against him. Unless there's some incredibly dramatic moment at the hearings. Look here, we have a Polaroid photo right here. Look here, we have the DNA. Look here, we have that. Well, that might be convincing. Well, where is it? I think we can all agree. That would be convincing. You've got all these lawyers working on this. All the media working on this. All the hate left-wing groups working on this, and this is the best they can do? 3 accusers without a single corroborating witness, without any corroboration whatsoever, without any evidence whatsoever? Let's cut through all the crap. That's what we're talking about. 0. Nothing. It's not believable. And the icing on the cake is Ms. Zwetnick. They put her in there for good measure, and she's absolutely not believable. I'll be right back. Did you know that good blood pressure is one of the keys to heart health and overall well-being? The good news is that consuming beets, a simple lifestyle change, can help support healthy blood pressure levels. And drinking Super Beets every day is the best way to get the right amount to make a difference. 1 teaspoon of Super Beets, the recommended daily serving, is verified to provide the nitric oxide equivalent of 3 whole beets, which helps support healthy blood pressure levels. So if you want to have a heart-healthy energy, give your body what it needs and start drinking Super Beets today. Call 866-205-4907 or go to superbeets.com/Levin to find out how to get a free 30-day supply, indicator testing strips to show how it's working, and free shipping with your first purchase. Call 866-205-4907 or go to superbeets.com/Levin. That's superbeets.com/Levin today.
Mark Levin, a champion of freedom.
You know, you're one of the greatest champions of freedom in this country, if not in the English-speaking world, Mark.
Call Mark at 877-381-3811.
0 witnesses, 0 corroboration, 0 evidence, no blue dress, 3 accusers. Nothing. Nothing. Now, all these accusers are represented by lawyers, are they not? Some of them are represented by multiple lawyers. We don't know who's paying for them, but I have a second question. So indignant are these lawyers. Not a single one of them has gone to local law enforcement. Not a single one of them to report criminal activity. Statute of limitations or no statute of limitations. Not a single one of them. They keep calling for these FBI investigations, knowing full well that the FBI won't actually investigate allegations of criminality because that doesn't fall within the purview of federal law enforcement. Nor is that the process that's in place for confirmation hearings. But Ms. Ford, Dr. Ford's lawyers haven't gone to Montgomery County, Maryland, local law enforcement. Ms. Ramirez lawyers, same thing. Ms. Swetnick's slip and fall lawyer, nothing. Well, why is that? Because, ladies and gentlemen, even if they did investigate, they'd come up empty. Now, Ms. Ford's lawyer, that is Dr. Ford's lawyer or lawyers, could have gone to Montgomery County, Maryland, law enforcement officials 6 weeks ago. But they didn't. Ms. Ramirez's lawyers could have gone to local law enforcement 3 weeks ago. But they didn't. Ms. Wetnick's slip and fall lawyer could have gone to local law enforcement a week to 10 days ago. But he didn't. Why not? I thought these are serious offenses. They are to be believed, no matter what. Why not? Got lots of questions. I personally would like to see Ms. Swetnick testify. I personally would like to see Ms. Ramirez testify so the Republicans can ask her about how she was approached by the Democrats on the committee and how her testimony went from "I'm not sure" to "I'm absolutely certain." That's why Ms. Ramirez isn't testifying. That's why Ms. Swetnick is not testifying, because there's a lot of questions that could be asked them that the Democrats do not want asked. But the media play along beautifully. They said, Mr. President, why do you always side against women and with the male? Why is that? So the Democrats set this up, and then the president is supposed to play along. But he's not playing along. Why should he? Each one of these has to be looked at individually. When it comes to a matter of justice, they have to be looked at individually. Doesn't matter what gender or genitalia or what have you. No. You're talking about the lives of individual human beings. The Republicans have allowed this to get out of control. They've allowed this to get out of control. And now even within their own ranks, they start to buckle, like the French Republicans that they are. They're being played. They don't want you to think they're against women. How stupid is this? How stupid is this argument that they allow the left and Democrats to make the case that if you support the Constitution, if you require some kind of evidence, that somehow you oppose women? How did we get to this place? It's so absurd. How did we get this place? Especially when the allegations come from the party of Ted Kennedy. The party of John Kennedy. The party of Bill Clinton. The party of Al Franken. The party of Daniel Inouye. The party of Keith Ellison. The party of John Conyers. The party of Anthony Weiner. The party of Elliot Spitzer. The party of Eric Schneiderman. And I could go on and on and on. How did we get to this place? Where they get to tell us what women believe. Why? By putting Gillibrand out there? She's a hack. She used to love Bill Clinton when he would campaign for her and with her and help raise her money. All of a sudden, she doesn't like him. So now we're supposed to follow that Pied Piper. I'd say no. Mazie Hirono. Mazie Hirono was a big fan of Daniel Inouye, even after it was learned that he was aggressively sexually harassing women. Didn't matter to her back then. Perfectly fine with Daniel Inouye. Perfectly fine with Daniel Inouye. She didn't tell him to shut up. But that was all politics back then, given the fact that he was so powerful. Where are the specifics? Where's the evidence? I think we, the American people, we're the final judge, not the media. But I'll tell you what's going to happen tomorrow. You're going to see a Roman circus. You're going to see a horrific spectacle. You're going to see the senators there all well-groomed with their dry cleaning and all the rest of it. You're going to see the same thing with the reporters and the media. And then, after the questioning period breaks here and there, they're going to tell you what to think. They're going to tell you what just happened as if they're watching a baseball game. You need to think for yourselves. You need to think for yourselves. They're going to tell you, well, it's not a court of law. Okay, we, I think, are well aware of that. They're going to tell you it's a matter of impressions. It's a matter of impressions. So whoever leaves the best impression. So now when it comes to selecting, in this case, an individual for the Supreme Court of the United States, it's a matter of impressions? Impressions. Now, you saw Kavanaugh. You see Kavanaugh. He's a circuit court judge. He's not dramatic. He's not charismatic. He's nerdy. He's geeky. Matter of impressions. And then we have the senior judicial analyst telling us, and if it's a tie, Kavanaugh loses. The hell is he talking about? If it's a tie, Kavanaugh loses? You're in for a very upsetting day tomorrow if you allow these commentators to get into your head. These accusations are so preposterous. So preposterous. Just think about it. Weekend after weekend after weekend, there were gang rapes at this high school party, which they had every weekend. The individual making the allegation was in college, but she kept going back to the high school for these parties. She can't name a single person who was raped. Not one. She can't name a single person who was raping. Not one. She didn't talk to anybody. None of them talked to anybody. None of them went to local law enforcement. None of them told the principal. None of them told their teachers. None of them told their parents. Absolutely ridiculous. Not one of them. You don't even get that kind of secrecy at the CIA. And why would they keep it secret if they're raped? And why would she keep going back to the parties from college to high school? It is so insane. Absolutely insane. But you're told you must believe. Victims. I don't believe she's a victim in the least. What do you think of that? And read her declaration. It's very general. Where are the specifics? Was Kavanaugh in the room? She doesn't say. Was Kavanaugh at the party? Well, she doesn't really say. Was Kavanaugh directly involved? She doesn't say. She should be publicly questioned by a litigator. She should. And the New York Times was on the game here, too. Oh, we looked and looked. You know, we're out to get Kavanaugh, too. Yeah, we want to destroy him as best we can. And this story was leaked to us. And, quote, none of Ms. Zwetnick's claims could be independently corroborated by the New York Times. I'm quoting. And her lawyer, Michael Avenatti, declined to make her available for an interview. This is a paper that hates Trump, that hates his agenda, that hates anything related to Trump, and hates Kavanaugh. Couldn't find anybody independently. And none are presented. Her declaration is worth nothing. It's toilet paper. It's worth nothing. It's exactly what I said. That's right, I said it. Gotta step up and be counted here. Tell the truth. And we have Ms. Ramirez. Comes out of nowhere because the Democrats on the committee brought her forward. New York Times tried to corroborate her story. Couldn't find a single witness. That's two. Two. But given the standards over there at the New Yorker, they had no problem. They ran with it. But they still couldn't find a single witness either. And they interviewed many people from Yale. No corroboration. No witness, no corroboration, no evidence. Now, the first accuser, Dr. Ford, she set the stage for this pattern. And Dianne Feinstein played this like a fiddle. Waited and waited and waited. Again, no witnesses, no corroboration, no evidence. No specifics about dates, times, places. Never mentioned Brett Kavanaugh even to her therapist in 2012. Lie detector was a joke. They asked 2 questions. That was it. Those are your 3 accusers. Now, something may have happened to them. How do I know? But I know the stories they're telling are nonsensical. I know the information they're providing is not supported. Forget about a court of law. Court of public opinion. They're not supported. By anyone. By anything. I'll be right back.
Mark Levin.
Are you telling me, Mark, you don't believe any of these 3 women? All 3 women are tainted by the Democrats. All 3 women are tainted by the Democrats' antics. All 3 women are being used by the Democrats. So why should I believe them? I'm looking at what's presented to us like rational human beings. Well, what exactly has been presented to us? Nothing. Nothing that can be supported. When you push aside all the media static, when you push aside all the analysis, when you push aside all the commentators, all trying to cover their asses, I just want to be sure there's nothing. I just have to be careful. When you push all the BS aside, what do you have? No witnesses, no corroboration. That's what you have. And what's happening is, as these women are used, the arguments and the allegations become ever more insane and preposterous. Like they had these weekly gang rapes. Everybody knew it. When you have gang rapes, that means you have a lot of victims, real serious victims. And you have a lot of perpetrators. And you have a lot of parents. You have a principal. You have all kinds of authorities. Not one of them spoke to anyone about anything. Well, that's persuasive, isn't it, ladies and gentlemen? And look at her lawyer. Of all the lawyers in the world, would you pick Michael Avenatti? If you're a porn star, you might. He's a complete sleaze. So, yes, I dismiss it. And same with Ramirez. She didn't really remember anything. 6 days with the Democrats and their lawyers. All of a sudden, she has all kinds of particulars in HD color. Oh, it was him. Have any witnesses? Well, no. Any way to corroborate this? Not really. And I'm not putting her down. I'm just saying we have to look at the information. Nothing. And she doesn't want to testify. All right. And then we get Dr. Ford, who we talked about multiple times. No, I don't have to believe this. In fact, I condemn it. And their lawyers, they're serious about sex crimes. Not a damn one of them has walked into any local law enforcement's office, any cops, and asked them to investigate. Not one of them. Are they serious about this or not? Well, the statute of limitations. Well, whatever. Go ahead and make your report anyway. Lay it out in absolute specifics and details. And then, if you make a false report, then there are consequences. But let's say it's not a false report. They really believe it. What's the problem? Not one of them has filed a criminal complaint. Not one. Did you know that you're more likely to be a victim of identity theft than you are to have your car stolen or your house broken into? With identity theft occurring every 2 seconds, you can't take that chance. You need protection. From the best, I switched to My ID Care, and they have been rated the #1 identity theft protection by third-party review site Best Companies. Millions of people have chosen My ID Care because they are the best in the business. My ID Care covers you for the 9 different types of identity theft and even offers a family plan so you can protect your entire family. And with Tri-Bureau credit monitoring and dark web monitoring, it's the kind of comprehensive protection you need. You can sign up at myidcare.com/Mark, promo code Mark. myidcare.com/Mark, promo code Mark. You should do it immediately. And plans start for less than $10 a month, and only MyIDCare offers a money-back recovery guarantee. I don't worry about identity theft anymore, and neither should you. And my listeners, you also get 15% off at myidcare.com/Mark, promo code Mark. Learn more, and then let MyIDCare take care of you. myidcare.com/Mark, promo code Mark. myidcare.com/Mark, promo code Mark. At 9:30 p.m. Eastern Time, 6:30 p.m. Pacific Time, 8:30 p.m. Central Time, and all other times around America, I will be on the Fox News Channel on Hannity's TV show, 9:30 p.m. Eastern Time. I hope you won't miss it. I'll be sprinting out of the radio bunker, heading over to the Ronald Reagan TV studio bunker. And given the terrible weather out there, I hope I make it quickly. So I hope you'll watch us at 9:30 p.m. Eastern Time on Hannity on the Fox News Channel. Got lots to say. I'm sure it's about this. I'm sure those are the questions. We'll see. Mark, New York City, the great WABC. Quickly, go.
Hello, Mark. About accuser number 3, you ask where are the specifics, and the specifics are purposefully lacking. It's Avenatti's devious ploy, and sadly it may be effective. Accuser number 3 doesn't want an investigation because, as you said, it would turn up nothing. Even the New York Times could find no corroboration. And Avenatti declined to make number 3 available. Now, Avenatti may be many things, but he's not stupid. It's not just a question of whether accuser number 3 is believable without specifics, because half the country will, quote, believe the accuser. What this is about is Avenatti's naked ploy to help the Democratic Party defeat Kavanaugh, and I think it's important senators see it for what it is. There are no specifics precisely because that's what makes number 3 immune from legal liability, even on her quote-unquote sworn statement.
All right, my friend. Good points. I got to run. Appreciate it. We'll be right back.
He's here. Now, broadcasting from the underground command post, deep in the bowels of a hidden bunker, somewhere under the brick and steel of a nondescript building, we've once again made contact with our leader, Mark Levin.
Everybody, Mark Levin here. Our number, 877-381-3811, 877-381-3811. Look where the Democrats take the country. Where can the Democrats take the country? Into the gutter. So many things going on in the world that should be really drawing our focused attention. Involving our national security. So many things going on in the world involving our families, our well-being, our economy. So many things going on in the world. And yet here we are. Because this is where they bring us. They control the narrative. They control the media narrative. They control the media. Just listen to how all of this is reported. Rather than the top of the news saying another allegation has been made without supporting witnesses or corroboration. It's just another allegation has been made against Kavanaugh. I cannot imagine what would happen if Kavanaugh or a left-wing judge nominated by, say, a Barack Obama for the United States Supreme Court and this sort of thing took place. First of all, the Republicans wouldn't do it. But even if they did, what do you think the reaction would be? Do you think they'd be getting softball interviews the way the Democrats do all over CNN and MSNBC? All over ABC and CBS? All over NBC? You think they'd be getting softball interviews? Now, many people who went to Brett Kavanaugh High School have written a letter to the Senate Judiciary Committee. It's sad that you have to do something like this. Apparently none of these people were at any of the rape parties. or ever saw any such thing. They wrote, "We are men and women who knew Brett Kavanaugh well in high school. We've seen reports today that Julie Swetnick, who says she graduated from Gaithersburg High School, submitted a declaration to the committee alleging that Brett participated in horrific conduct during high school, including targeting girls for gang rape. Nonsense. We never witnessed any behavior that even approaches what is described in this allegation. It is reprehensible. In the extensive amount of time we collectively spent with Brett, we do not recall having ever met someone named Julie Swetnick. Nor do we ever observe Brett engaging in any conduct resembling that described in Ms. Swetnick's declaration." Keep something in mind. Kavanaugh, according to her declaration, was around 15 years old. She was around 18. He was 15, 16. She was 18. She was in college. He was in high school. Brett Kavanaugh is a good man. He's always treated women with respect and decency. He's a man of honor, integrity, and compassion. These shameful attacks must end. This process is a disgrace and is harming good people. Signed by scores of individuals. Now, ladies and gentlemen, there's a senator by the name of, I don't know his full name, but it's Senator Coons from Delaware. Chris Coons. And he's just one of a conga line of senators who go on TV and speak to these events. What does Senator Chris Coons really know about these events? Unless he's involved in this cabal to take out Kavanaugh, he would know about those events involving the cabal. But what does he know about what took place 36 years ago? What does he know about what took place 35 years ago? What does he know if they took place at all? What does he know about Swetnick? They don't know anything. I'm so sick of these people. I'm sick of these political hacks that go on TV and then they tell us to reject due process. These are your politicians. They're your so-called lawmakers. Reject due process. Reject innocent until proven guilty. Oh, you know, it's not a court of law. I don't care what it is. I don't care if you're being suspended from school. You're innocent until proven guilty. There has to be some kind of due process. That's the nature of the American system. That's the nature of the Western enlightened system. No, you don't understand here. It's a job interview. It's not a job interview. It's a constitutional act. Stop trying to dumb it down all the time. It's a constitutional act. The president nominates, and the Senate confirms or it doesn't. It gives its advice and consent. Like they dumb down impeachment. That's going to be next. We're in a war, ladies and gentlemen. There is no question about it. And whereas the Democrats have what I call these political terrorist tactics, as I pointed out the other day, we have a bunch of French Republicans running in every direction. Well, I don't know. I mean, I need to hear all the witnesses. I need to know. This vote should have been taken last week. They let this system get out of control. They go on another week or two, there'll be another person who comes forward without corroborating witnesses or evidence or anything else. And the accusations are getting more unhinged, more insane. They're irrational. We need to hear from all the witnesses, says this old white guy from Delaware. We need to hear from all the witnesses here. We have to take all accusations seriously. No, we don't. Not if they're incoherent. Not if they're incomprehensible. Not if they're irrational. We don't take it seriously at all. You have here Democrats commenting on the process like they're objectively commenting when in fact their fingerprints and DNA, may I say, is all over this stuff. See, the burden of proof is on Kavanaugh. What is this, the Soviet Union? Oh, the burden of proof is on Kavanaugh, yes. Have you ever heard them say the burden of proof is on Keith Ellison? No. Burden of proof is on John Edwards? No. Some of these people sat next to Ted Kennedy all those years when he was on the Senate Judiciary Committee. All those years. They were buddies with him. They praised him. They lionized him. When he passed away, he had a week full of memorial events, too. God bless him. But he was a woman abuser. He was a woman abuser. They sat next to him. They befriended him. They co-sponsored bills with him. They had no problem. No problem with Chappaquiddick. No problem with Mary Jo Kopechne. Nothing. Nothing. Zero. Leahy, Durbin, Schumer, and the rest of the miscreants. No problem at all. All during the endless story of Bill Clinton's sexual perversions and sexual assaults. The media tried to cover for him. Oh, it must be Richard Mellon Scaife. He's behind the whole grand right-wing conspiracy, don't you know? Now all of a sudden, Gillibrand, who couldn't get closer to Bill Clinton when she wanted to be a senator. You know, we really should have said he should have resigned. And to look back on this, as I reassess this, I think he should have resigned. Oh, thank you for your input. Or Mazie Hirono of Hawaii, praising Daniel Inouye. Daniel Inouye. Oh, the great Daniel Inouye. So many things in Hawaii named after Inouye, like the great Robert Byrd in West Virginia. Oh, yeah, we got all kinds of things named after the great Daniel Inouye. Just did a lighthouse after Daniel Inouye, the great Daniel. Well, apparently he was a sexual pervert and harasser. No, couldn't be. Couldn't be. You had evidence, you had witnesses, you had all that. Nah. Don't believe that woman. Oh. Keith Ellison. Don't believe that woman. Oh. Kennedy's multiple women. Don't believe that. And I hate to say this because of the horrific way in which he was murdered, John Kennedy. Here's another one. He reportedly slept with an East German spy while he was president. A mob boss's girlfriend had sex with a 17-year-old intern. She wrote an entire book about it. Oh, keep that quiet. Don't get into that. Don't get into that. No. And Lyndon Johnson, the Great Society. The Great Caligula. That's what he was. He was worse. No, we don't talk about this stuff. Because leftists only reluctantly are shown the door. Oh, they pined over Al Franken. Well, I don't know. It's Al Franken. He's our guy. He's a good guy. Hey, Franken. Good guy. I know. I don't know. I mean, gee whiz, gee willikers. But in case of Kavanaugh, check out his 1983 yearbook. Ooh, look at this. The 1983 yearbook. Oh, yeah. It's a big deal, right? New York Times, and even the New York Times in that story lied. Kept out relevant, material information. I'll be right back.
Mark Levin.
This desire and frustration, if you will, that these senators aren't put under oath and asked questions about what they did in high school and college, about their drinking habits, about whether they were virgins or they weren't virgins, so they can be humiliated too, so they could see what it's like. Like Chuck Schumer. You know, Anthony Weiner worked for Chuck Schumer for a period of time. Chuck Schumer was Weiner's mentor. Chuck Schumer always liked Weiner. Did you know that, Mr. Producer? He embraced Weiner as a young man. He stood up for Weiner, as a matter of fact. Yes, he was a big fan of Weiner. And when his man Weiner came under attack, initially, he stood up for Weiner. But then eventually, well, he shriveled in embarrassment. Forgot about Anthony Weiner, didn't you, out there? Oh, yeah. Elliot Spitzer, another rock star. Eric Schneiderman. Whatever happened to Eric Schneiderman? Keith Ellison now says that he should be investigated by Congress. Now, that's rather peculiar. He's running for Attorney General of Minnesota. He's not going to necessarily even be in Congress. So Congress should investigate Keith Ellison, not the DNC. But notice he didn't ask the FBI. Did he? Notice all the lawyers, as I mentioned in the first hour, who represent the accusers, have avoided local law enforcement like the plague. Why is that? Why is that? I would assume they want justice. They want investigations. We know the local law enforcement has jurisdiction. Maybe the statute of limitations has run, but I'm told it has not in Montgomery County, Maryland, the heart and soul of America. Not. So these three accusers have a lot in common, actually. No witnesses, no corroboration, no evidence, no blue dress. What are you saying, Mark? I said what I said. I said what I said. And any time, it's not a court of law. Oh, okay. We're not judges or a jury. Oh, okay. There's not a presumption of innocence. Okay. There's no due process. Oh, okay. There's no requirement for actual witnesses and corroboration. Oh, okay. So you got to believe the accuser. Not okay. Excuse me. I said not okay. Why do you always take the side of men? I don't always take the side of men. Like I feel Mary Jo Kopechne was killed. Left to die. I'm taking her side. I took the side of Juanita Broderick and Paula Jones, Kathleen Willey. Oh, yeah. I took the side of Sarah Palin when she came under a vicious attack and assault, relentless by the left. I did. We don't always take the side of men. Sometimes we do, sometimes we don't. But I will tell you what we do differently than the left. We have principles. We have morals. And as they demonstrate each passing day, they do not. They do not. Tom, northeastern Pennsylvania, the great WTRW. Go.
Mark, thank you. I have two observations and one question. The first observation is that Chris Coons and Kavanaugh were classmates at Harvard Law and were theoretical friends prior to this set of hearings. And it was during when I was watching the hearing, I saw Kavanaugh almost just pleadingly looking at Coons during one of their vitriolic interchanges. Like he couldn't believe that Coons was being this aggressive in his questioning. So there's a former relationship there that is frayed, I'm sure. Number two, these accusers are probably not filing police reports because they probably could be tried on the basis of filing false reports with the police once these things are truly investigated with the flimsy nature of these particular allegations. And my only question for you at this point is that no one's name has ever been defamed more than Kavanaugh by these flimsy allegations. When is there a civil liability on the part of these accusers and the people who are running them to bring them to heel?
Well, you're not going to bring them there. There's a couple of points here. Number one, senators are protected by the immunity clause, except when they're speaking in the press and so forth. Then they're not. But number two, the standard is just so impossibly high for a public figure. And number three, what would you have Kavanaugh do? Bring 50 lawsuits? That doesn't advance the cause. Not for him.
Well, it's true. It just gets messy.
That's why they don't do it.
With the least damage, I guess.
All right, my friend. Appreciate your call. For Kavanaugh, this is not theoretical. It's not an abstraction. It's reality. And being in court the rest of your life just seems like a very bleak and sad life. And so he's not going to do that. And the best way to address this is to confirm him and put it on the Supreme Court and make it clear to the Democrats now that you're going to turn out in November and you're going to kick their ass. I don't care who the Republican is running. And I'm going to repeat something I said the other day. We're going to watch very carefully how these senators vote. Unless all of a sudden there's a blue dress, and you understand the point. Unless that occurs, I think any Republican that votes against Kavanaugh should be primaried and defeated. They are utterly useless. Utterly useless. And we know which ones we're talking about. All right, I'll be right back.
Mark Levin, a proud fanatic for the Constitution. Call him now at 877-381-3811.
Have you ever heard of NO? Not no, I'm referring to nitric oxide. It's a gas that your own body makes in the lining of your blood vessels from the time you were a baby. But with each decade, our body produces less and less nitric oxide on its own. So why does this matter? It sounds so complicated. It's not complicated at all. Because nitric oxide is a Nobel Prize-winning molecule that signals your blood vessels to relax and dilate. Now, why is that important? Well, now Super Beets by Human has harnessed the power of nutrient-enriched beets to create a superfood that helps your body make more nitric oxide on its own. 1 teaspoon of Super Beets daily supports your cardiovascular health and blood pressure levels, giving you natural energy without a quick caffeine kick or a sugar high. It's real, it's healthy, it's natural, it's pure energy. Listen to Steve from Illinois, who says the taste is wonderful. As the increase in energy is great, and it's a caffeine substitute without the negative caffeine side effects. And that's all true. Call 866-205-4907. 866-205-4907. Or go to superbeats.com/Levin, superbeats.com/Levin, and find out how you can get a free 30-day supply of Super Beets and free shipping with your first purchase. This is really an organic, pure nitric oxide, and what it does is it kicks up your energy. 866-205-4907, or go to superbeats.com/Levin. I didn't believe it at first. I'm very careful about the sponsors I allow on this program. But the more I talked to the experts, the more I looked into this, the more I said, we need to do this. My wife is a marathon runner. She uses this. It's true. 866-205-4907, or go to superbeats.com/Levin, Levin. All right, let's take some of your calls. Don't forget, 9:30 p.m. Eastern, 6:30 p.m. Pacific. It would be 8:30 p.m. Central, and you know the rest. I'll be on Fox on the Hannity TV show, 9:30 p.m. Eastern. I hope you'll check it out. April, Myrtle Beach, South Carolina, on the Mark Levin app. How are you?
I'm doing just fine, Mr. Levin. How about you?
Very well, thank you.
We're waiting for the flood
I bet.
Hit tonight.
Well, Myrtle Beach, as you well know, of course, really got whacked.
Yes, we did.
I'm sorry.
Not so much with the wind, but with the rain.
Yeah.
Anyway, what I wanted to say was, I'm a mother. I have boys. I'm sick and tired of all this stuff going on with Kavanaugh. There is no way in heck, if something happened, that I, as a woman, would not have said something to somebody. My mother, my best friend, somebody at school, I would have told. I don't believe any of it, and I'm sick of it. Mm-hmm. The other thing I'm sick of is that I tried to talk to my millennial son last night and tell him this could happen to anybody. It could happen to him. He works at a college. Anything. It could happen to him, and he won't see it. He just refuses to see it.
Well, unfortunately, he may see it up close and personal one day.
Yeah, and then I wonder, who he's going to blame. But anyway, I used to be a Democrat. No more. I used to be a Republican. No more. I'm an independent. But I have decided that since this is all happening, that I am going to get so much more involved in local politics. Not just for the next 41 days, but forever. I'm tired of this.
Good for you, April. And I love your energy and your vigor. Thank you very much for calling. Let's go to Jerry in Hawaii on the Mark Levin app. Go.
Aloha, Mark.
Aloha.
I want to thank you and your call screener, Steve, a very courteous and considerate.
It's a good man.
For putting me on your show. And I'll get right to my premise. And I'm in the same boat as Kavanaugh is. I've been in it for 50 years. And my question is why...
Well, I don't know what that means.
Well, I live in crazy, mazy land. I'll tell you in a minute.
Well, we're going to run out of time. Cut to the chase.
Well, why do conservatives think they can win on defense? And Kavanaugh's been on defense when he was running for the position or applying for the position. And conservatives, he's not doing something that I, as a conservative, would do. When I was attacked, I have the highest position there is in the land. According to James Garfield, our 20th president, I am an evangelist and a preacher. I've run for office 3 times in Hawaii. And I am banned in every newspaper here. I've been accused of attempted murder of a transsexual because I wrote a book on homosexuality.
All right, sir, we're getting far afield here. I apologize that you're having to go through all this. I know nothing of your circumstances, but I appreciate your calling. What am I supposed to say, Rich? I don't know. Let us go to Tim, Southern California, 870 The Answer. Go.
Yeah, Mark, I just wanted to bring up the point that even if Kavanaugh does get confirmed, I don't think he's much of a conservative. I actually think he'll be less of a conservative in this case. I think he'll be a lot less than Kennedy was, Justice Kennedy. And I'm afraid of...
So you think some people have speculated he would be a better constitutionalist, and you think that's not the case, that one of the reasons they're doing this is to pound at him. And the only way he can actually redeem himself, I suppose you're saying, is by moving left, and at which time the same people trashing him will start to celebrate him.
That's right. That's exactly. I never thought a whole lot about him as a conservative anyhow. Mm-hmm. But I think this...
I had some questions that I wanted to ask, but apparently the clown show comes first, you know.
Yeah, lots of clowns. Mm-hmm. That's for sure.
So you think this is in part, if they can't stop him, to move him to the left, and if they can't move him to the left, to forever stigmatize him?
Yeah. He'll be... He may be like Justice Thomas. He won't say much anymore. He'll do what he wants, but I mean...
well, Justice Thomas has turned out to be one of our greatest justices.
Absolutely, but he doesn't say much, and I assume that's what Kavanaugh did.
But that's not... I don't think he doesn't say much because of that. I think he's made it abundantly clear that these oral arguments and the justices, trying to show their mental muscle doesn't really resolve too much.
Yeah. No, I would agree with that. I didn't mean to suggest he was any less than great, but I just think he may have been muted a bit. But otherwise...
Well, look, they were talking in March, and I hadn't known this until I was doing more and more research. And do you know since March they've actually been talking about impeaching Thomas?
Is that right? I hadn't heard that.
Oh, yeah, about impeaching Thomas. They want to impeach Kavanaugh, should he be confirmed. They want to impeach Trump. I don't know how much... the American people are going to put up with this anymore. I cannot believe that the Democrats are 12 percentage points above the Republicans. Look, we know McConnell's a schmo. We know Ryan's a schmo. We know these guys in so many respects are phonies. But we got to stop the other side.
They got to go after Cory Booker right after this.
Well, he is a man who has confessed sexual molestation.
Yes. That would be an easy process.
But it never stopped Bill Clinton, by the way.
Yeah.
Never stopped Lyndon Johnson. Never stopped any Kennedy, let's be honest.
Yeah.
Well, if he doesn't make it in politics, he could always work, at one of the morning shows on the networks.
There you go.
He can get his own button and buzzer. All right, my friend. Thank you for your call, Tim. Let us continue, shall we? Yes, we can. Tom, Trucker, Ohio, XM Satellite, go.
Hey, great one. How are you today?
Good. How are you, Tom?
Okay. I tell you, I've just about had enough of this Kavanaugh thing and the Democrats, man.
Mm-hmm.
I know what it's about. Right away, as soon as Trump nominated him, they said, "Oh, Roe versus Wade's going to be overturned." That's the first thing. I don't understand why the Democrats are so bloodthirsty like that. They want to kill little babies. And then they're also worried about gay marriage getting overturned, and that's their two things. It seems like they're two stances that they're trying to fight against. I believe they're evil. I really do. I believe they're controlled by evil, and they they have this ideology that we don't have. It's almost like a fight against evil versus good. And I hope the people hear this, and they call their senators to back Kavanaugh, because if enough of us call, they're gonna confirm him.
Mm-hmm.
And
what do you think about the spectacle tomorrow? We're all supposed to sit on the edges of our seat. Big media event. Then we get to hear what these commentators on the cable networks and the networks and the rest of them have to say, and we're supposed to sit there like it's the Roman Colosseum.
I think it's just a big sham. I really do.
You're basically throwing this guy to the lions.
Yeah, that's exactly right. Just like they used to do the Christians back in the old Roman days.
Yep. All right, my friend. Thanks for your call. We'll be right back.
Mark Levin.
By the way, we're going to have a great Life, Liberty, and Levin this Sunday as well. And we're going to talk extensively about the political and electoral landscape. What we might expect in November. Blue wave or no blue wave. What the Republicans should run on. And I have a really particularly special guest to discuss this. He's a man who challenged the establishment and lost. Then he challenged the establishment again and won. And by the establishment, I mean big time, Mitch McConnell. You might remember Matt Bevin. He lost, but then he ran for the nomination for governor, and he won the nomination by a hair. Then he won the governorship by 9 points, and he's one of the most outstanding governors in the country. Now, outside of Kentucky, many of you may not know much about him. You're definitely going to want to watch this. You're definitely going to want to hear from him. I'm going to tell you why. When the Trump presidency is eventually over, this guy has presidential material. He really does. You're going to be really impressed. Really impressed. But more than that, we discuss what's going on in the country, the election results potentially, what Republicans need to do, what conservatives need to do, what we need to do, how we can do it. It's going to be a very, very special program, so I hope you'll mark it down now, even though I know it's, Wednesday? For this Sunday, 10 p.m. Eastern. I know you weren't disappointed last week. You weren't disappointed the week before that. These guests are very, very good, very, very important. And I hope you'll mark it down and check us out. Now, here's some exciting news. Simply Safe is now valued at $1 billion. This is a company that used to be just 5 guys working together. The founder only started the company because he wanted to help his friends who were burglarized. Now it's worth $1 billion. You know why? Because several million people benefit from Simply Safe. It protects over 2 million people. And here's what makes them so great. Simply Safe is comprehensive protection for your home with round-the-clock professional monitoring and police dispatch. You get protection against intruders, fires, leaks, and even burst pipes. Simply Safe keeps working during power outages, downed Wi-Fi, even if a burglar smashes your keypad. Of course, there's no wires. This system is easy to use, incredibly intuitive, and it takes just minutes to set it up. And with Simply Safe, there are no contracts or hidden fees. None. And 24/7 monitoring, that's only $14.99 a month. CNET, PC Magazine, The Wirecutter, all named Simply Safe their top pick for home security. So here's what I want you to do. I want you to order your Simply Safe system right away. Protect your family, protect your home. It really is simple. By going to simplysafemark.com, simplysafemark.com, and my listeners, well, you get free shipping and free returns. So there's no risk. That's simplysafemark.com to protect your family and your home immediately. simplysafemark.com. All right, let's see here on our call screen. We've had a full board all day. All day. Larry, Muskegon, Michigan, on Sirius Satellite. How are you?
Good, Mr. Levin. First, I want to say that you are a true patriot, and I wish that we could get more Republicans in office like you. Problem is, we need people to get out and vote, and we need people to understand that we get them in office, we get them there, and then we can weed out the ones that we don't like, but they got to get out and vote. But as far as the Kavanaugh stuff goes, I don't know why people can't have enough common sense and understand that it started with the Ford, or Dr. Ford. From there, they waited the week. They were stretching it out. We get this other lady convinced by her lawyers to come in and say basically accusations that couldn't be proven, and then they wait and draw it out, and Alvinati and all this other stuff to bring in this other lady, same accusations, no proof, no evidence, no nothing. I don't know why people can't see and understand the fact that it is nothing but to smear them, and the Republicans don't stand up in the media. We don't have enough conservative outlets for them to really get out there, and then they're afraid.
Larry, can I just interject this? You know who's been very good on TV on this? The senator who's been very good? Lindsey Graham.
Dave. But
Lindsey Graham has been very solid on this. Have you noticed?
He has been, and he's been doing everything. He's been accommodating. I had no problems with Lindsey Graham. Lindsey Graham's been absolutely awesome through all of this, but we need more of them. We need
I agree.
People to have the same backbone that you do and be able to stand up and not. I mean, why can't they understand and can't see that Trump doesn't care what the media says, doesn't care how he's perceived, and he's able to go out there and he does these things and he's not getting support, but yet you are one of the most popular. I mean, you say it like CRTV and your radio program, the ratings that you get, because you got the backbone. You say what's on your mind. You say and you speak for all of us conservatives who don't have a voice, that want to just grab some of these people by the shirt collar, shake them up, say, wake up, and get a backbone, start standing up for what we elected you for, and start doing it. They want to get a red wave. That's all they got to do, really, is to come out. They want people to come out and vote. People don't go out and vote because of the fact that, I hear it so many times, it doesn't make no good anyway. My vote doesn't matter. Because when we put the people up there, it seems like they just don't do what we ask them to do, what we elected them to do. If they would get out there and they would say, we are going to go up there, we're going to fight for the Trump agenda, we're going to back up what our constituents want, we're going to stand behind them, and we're not going to let the Democrats smear us in the media and be able to just start.
My friend, very, very well put. I have to go because we're out of time. But that was excellent, really excellent. We'll be right back.
He's here. Now, broadcasting from the underground command post, deep in the bowels of a hidden bunker, somewhere under the brick and steel of a nondescript building, we've once again made contact with our leader, Mark Levin.
Hello, everybody. Mark Levin here. Our number, 877-381-3811, 877-381-3811. Well, let's go down the conga line of left-wing Democrats and see what they have to say. Ron Wyden of Oregon, Senator, on CNN today. Cut 7, go.
Mr. Kavanaugh said that people might have had too many beers on occasion. Mm-hmm. Well, there's sure a lot of evidence, starting with the fact that his own college roommate said that he came in often belligerent and angry and drinking. So there is credible evidence here, a credible individual that deserves a credible kind of process. And by the way, if they decide to have this vote on Friday, and they're going to do it right now, what that to me sends is a clear statement to American women that their voices don't really matter, that the evidence doesn't matter. They're just going to jam this through.
I would ask you women out there, does Ron Wyden speak for you? He's an old white guy, so I'm just curious. Does Ron Wyden speak for you? So if they have a vote on Friday, the Republicans are telling women in America that they don't stand for you? Guy sounds creepy, too, doesn't he? Then we have Patty Murray of the state of Washington. She's on MSNBC. Cut 8, go.
If the Senate were to switch this aside and dismiss Mrs. Ford and do what the president said and start calling allegations that she was drunk, we're going to send a message to
whoa. She said she drank to the point of being drunk. Boy, these people are really slime balls. Go ahead.
Again, as we did in 1991, to be quiet, sit down, and don't talk. And what is that message to young boys?
Oh, that's right. Everybody's saying, sit down, be quiet, don't talk to the women. Is that what's being said? No, we're calling you out. You're the ones telling us to shut up. Go ahead.
They'll get away with it. This is serious. It needs to be taken absolutely with every...
Sure it does. You got the porn lawyer involved. You guys waited to the 11th hour to do all this. You dug up the Ramirez so-called allegations. Yeah, it needs to be taken very, very seriously. And you have to believe the person making the accusations, because the Democrats need you to believe the person making the accusations. Then we have Richard Blumenthal. This guy's certifiable. Cut 9, go.
If my Republican colleagues have any sense of morality.
Oh, any sense of morality whatsoever, you agree with this sleazeball. You understand how that works? Abortion on demand, abortion in the last second, their whole agenda. You don't have any morality whatsoever. Go ahead.
They'll refuse to go forward on Friday. They will demand an FBI investigation.
I can't listen to this guy. That's enough. Sounds like a guy standing in the rain in a raincoat. He just does. Want cigarettes? Then, of course, there's Sheila Jackson Lee, and she's on CNN. And by the way, this is, you're listening to what CNN and MSNBC is doing all day. Plucking kook liberal Democrats out in order to support a narrative that CNN corporate and MSNBC corporate support. Cut 10, go.
This is troubling. It's sad. And one might call it catastrophic, because I don't think in the history of confirmations, and we've had many confirmations of those going to the Supreme Court that were rejected, that we've had this kind of saga. And I think it's sad, and there are no winners here. So let me tell you what...
No, sure there are. You're the winners no matter what. Right? Because if he's confirmed, then you'll have a political issue. If he's not confirmed, then you'll have a political issue. Because that's what you do. Go ahead.
First of all...
Matter of fact, shut up. I don't want to hear from you either. Now here's a montage from our buddies at Newsbusters. CNN and MSNBC, they find Kavanaugh guilty on all counts. Cut 11, go.
He'll be saying, I don't remember nothing. I don't remember nothing. I wasn't there.
Sounds like you. I wonder what you did in high school there, Sporty. I wonder what you did in college there. I wonder what kind of drinking you've been involved in, Chris. Wink, wink, if you know what I mean. Go ahead.
He'll be saying, I don't remember nothing. I don't remember nothing. I wasn't there. I don't know what she's talking about. I never remember.
Well, maybe that's the truth, you idiot. He'll be saying, I don't remember nothing. I don't remember nothing. Because maybe it's true that there's nothing to remember. All right, go to the top. I'll be quiet. Go ahead.
He'll be saying, I don't remember nothing. I don't remember nothing. I wasn't there. I don't know what she's talking about. I never met her, blah, blah, blah. And and this doctor...
Whoa. One too many there, huh, pal? Go ahead.
Is going to come on, this PhD is going to come on and in detail describe what happened. I don't think it's a fair fight. I think she's going to make the case.
He's the type of person who could be so vile. And he lies about that, and he lies about whether or not he got the documents, and he's lied about what he's done to these other women. And he's a liar.
Really big red flags to me, and this is just the latest one.
I don't think Brett Kavanaugh takes women's pain very seriously.
Kavanaugh simply refers to it as the accuser.
Kavanaugh has lied multiple times. Kavanaugh's potentially lying, and that to me is disqualifying.
This is not a court of law, right? So this doesn't need to be proven beyond a reasonable doubt.
Credibly accused. Credibly accused.
Credibly and authoritatively accused.
Credibly accused of sexual assault involving teens.
Who are you going to believe?
She's being bullied into showing up 4 or 5 days after this letter is leaked to be questioned by 11 white men.
Panel of white men.
10 white men.
White men.
All white men.
Wolf pack of white men.
All white men.
Asking her, aggressive and obnoxious questions.
Why not pull the nomination?
Pull the nomination.
Kavanaugh is quite overcooked.
His nomination should be withdrawn.
Wouldn't surprise me if he chose to withdraw.
This nomination is cut.
They're protecting a man who is probably guilty.
Having no recollection is a convenient excuse.
He may have done something terrible that he doesn't remember doing.
Right now, there's reasonable doubt, at least against Judge Kavanaugh.
Whether he was then or is now an alcoholic, whether he's recovered or not.
I think we're going to see another year of the woman like we saw after Thursday.
Will the Kavanaugh nomination crash and burn on Thursday?
Ladies and gentlemen, you wonder how societies crumble into gulags like Venezuela. Well, you're listening to it right here. These are fools. These are court jesters. These people are going to be thrilled tomorrow because they have participated in creating this Roman Colosseum where Kavanaugh will be thrown to the lions. There's nothing this man can say. Nothing. Nothing in his own defense that will help him with these jackals. Nothing. Oh, he wasn't aggressive enough. Well, he didn't seem indignant. Did you notice? Well, doesn't seem to emote very much. Well, he was awfully emotional, don't you think? Well, he just kept denying these things. He just said he doesn't know them. He just kept saying, I know nothing. I don't know anything. That's where he's going to hide. Oh, yes. I think you have to agree that she came across more believable than he came across. Well, she performed much better than he. I'm already giving you tomorrow's analysis. News analysis in the golden age of journalism. News analysis. And you watch how these so-called reporters have their hair coiffed and cut, and they have new ties and suits neatly pressed, just back from the dry cleaners. Their hair specially combed, an extra little dab of makeup, because in the end it's about them. Got to drive up those ratings. Our viewers love this Kavanaugh stuff. Just keep hitting it, hit it. And then it has the beneficial effect of destroying what's left of the independence of the Supreme Court. Destroying what's left of the independence of the Supreme Court. Remember when we used to be lectured that you can't criticize the court, you can't criticize the justices when they were moving in the left's direction? Remember all that? And if Kavanaugh is confirmed, and I pray to the good Lord that he is, They will use that as a basis for dismissing any opinion he ever writes or any vote he ever takes. These are tyrants. They have a totalitarian mindset, as I've said over and over and over and over again. I'll be right back.
Mark Levin.
NBC News. Keep your chin up. NBC News. Senate probing new allegation of misconduct against Kavanaugh. Isn't this amazing? Literally on the eve before the hearing. Supreme Court nominee has been asked privately about an accusation of physical assault, sources tell NBC News, so you know it's leaked by the Democrats. Senate Judiciary Committee is inquiring about at least one additional allegation of misconduct against Supreme Court nominee Brett Kavanaugh, according to a letter obtained by NBC News and multiple people familiar with the process. So first of all, the process in the Senate has completely unraveled. It's completely unraveled. Republican Senate investigators asked Kavanaugh about the new complaint, NBC News has learned, during a phone call on Tuesday between Kavanaugh and committee staff. Sources told NBC News that Kavanaugh denied the allegation in the letter during the call, and a spokesman for the committee declined to comment. The committee on Wednesday, today, released a transcript of Tuesday's call where they asked Kavanaugh about the anonymous letter. It's an anonymous letter. We're dealing with an anonymous letter about an anonymous person and an anonymous friend. It's ridiculous. Total Twilight Zone. And no, I've never done anything like that, Kavanaugh said, according to the transcript. A Republican aide on the committee said the conversation took place shortly after noon. While Republican staff posed questions to Kavanaugh, their Democratic counterparts were also on the call, but did not ask any questions. Why didn't they ask any questions? So they can complain later that the proper questions weren't asked, of course. According to an anonymous complaint sent to Republican Senator Cory Gardner of Colorado, Kavanaugh physically assaulted a woman he socialized with in Washington, D.C. area in 1998, well, that's 20 years ago, while he was inebriated. The sender of the complaint described an evening involving her own daughter, Kavanaugh, and several friends in 1998. When they left the bar under the influence of alcohol, they were all shocked when Brett Kavanaugh shoved her friend up against the wall very aggressively and sexually. There were at least 4 witnesses, including my daughter. The writer of the letter provided no names, but said the alleged victim was still traumatized and had decided to remain anonymous herself. A Democratic source said the minority wasn't satisfied by the Republicans' questions. There you go. I hadn't even read the whole thing. About the incident during the call, calling them cursory, and believed it should be investigated more deeply. So why didn't the Democrats ask more questions? So what's happening now is you're getting lots of letters pouring in, lots of calls pouring in. So, and of course, you have to delay everything to trace every single one of them. Senate Democrats are focusing on the allegations, serious and credible allegations that include people who've come forward. A senior Democratic aide told NBC News, without the FBI's willingness to get involved, we can't investigate this claim further. Folks, you get an anonymous letter from an anonymous person. What the hell are you supposed to do? What are you supposed to do? Honest to God, why is this even news? Since it can't possibly be tracked down. It can't possibly be tracked down. How is this news? You don't even know who wrote the letter. Well, look, he has to prove himself innocent. It just gets, honestly, Rich, it gets more and more shocking. But we have a new standard now. Every accusation is to be believed. So the letters come in, the accusations come in, and so forth and so on. So that's a 4th allegation? How is it an allegation? We have no idea who it is, what it is, any of it. But they're witnesses. Okay, who are the witnesses? Well, we don't know. This is what's being encouraged in our country right now. Now, the funny thing about all this is I was never that hot to trot on Kavanaugh, was I, Mr. Producer? He was not even in my top 3. Now, I watch this. Where are all the Bushies? Where are all the Bushies? Where are all the people who were trashing me for daring to ask a few questions about the guy? Not questions like this, but questions about his judicial philosophy. Where are they? They're nowhere. So this is an NBC breaking news story, which has absolutely no substance whatsoever. I don't even know what to do with a story like this. Another allegation. So it's anonymous. The letter's anonymous. Am I right, Mr. Producer? It's an anonymous letter. Anonymous what? Accuser. And it's called the 4th allegation. So, I don't know what to tell you, folks. But I will tell the Democrats something. These new standards you've created must be applied to you. They must be applied to you. You're guilty until proven innocent. No presumption of innocence. No due process. Tell me, does the Senate Ethics Committee act this way? Is that how they function? No due process, no right to be heard, no evidence, no witnesses? I'm quite serious. Because then we all might as well file complaints against senators all over the place with the Senate Ethics Committee and tell them we insist that you apply the same standards that the Democrats are applying to a nominee to the United States Supreme Court. That they have to prove the negative. That there is no real due process. And apparently you can make an anonymous allegation. An anonymous allegation. Without your name, without your address, anything. Just do it. And I assume they're going to investigate these senators. Maybe they'll even call in the FBI. Listen, we have an anonymous complaint, an anonymous letter, an anonymous accuser with anonymous witnesses. Call in the FBI. Because NBC News thinks this is a big deal. Would this be the same NBC News that somehow missed Matt Lauer, Mr. Producer? Where Andy Lack suddenly went blind? Oh, who knew? Who knew? Is that the NBC News we're talking about? What next? CBS News? Where's Les Moonbeam, or whatever his name is? Moonves. And the former head of 60 Minutes. Where are they? Remember the clock? Remember the close-up of a guy's left nostril hairs? Remember how they used to do that stuff? I'll be right back. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, we have some breaking news, assuming I can pull this up. Boom, 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 boom. One moment. I'm getting it. Here we go. Breaking news from Politico. Ex-boyfriend filed restraining order against third Kavanaugh accuser. By the way, this has been bouncing around the last 3 or 4 hours, as has certain financial information and other information about her, but I've held back waiting for a news source to pick it up. Julie Swetnick, the woman who just accused Supreme Court nominee Brett Kavanaugh and a friend of attending house parties where women, including herself, were sexually assaulted, had a restraining order filed against her years later in Miami by her former boyfriend. A Miami-Dade County court docket shows a petition for injunction against Swetnick was filed March 1, 2001 by her former boyfriend Richard Vanesi, who told Politico Wednesday the two had dated for 4 years before they broke up. 13 days later, the case was dismissed, not long after an affidavit of non-ability to advance fees was filed. According to Vanesi, Swetnick threatened him after they broke up and even after he got married to his current wife and had a child. Quote, right after I broke up with her, she was threatening my family, threatening my wife and threatening to harm to my baby at that time, Vanessa said in a telephone interview with Politico. I know a lot about her. She's not credible at all, he said. Not at all. The allegation is likely to raise questions among Republican defenders of Kavanaugh about Swetnick's credibility after her attorney, Michael Avenatti, revealed her for the first time on Wednesday. Reached late Wednesday, Avenatti said he knew nothing of a restraining order and called the line of inquiry irrelevant. Complete nonsense. No truth to this at all. Her ex-boyfriend fraudulently used her resume to apply for and obtain jobs and was caught by her, said Avenatti. Why are you all attacking a sexual assault victim? Would that be appropriate in a court of law? Shut up, you slip and fall fool. Citing the sensitive nature of the case and the explosive politics surrounding it, Vanessa said he wanted to talk to an attorney first before further discussing the case, which has kept him occupied all day. My phone has not stopped since this morning. Everyone is calling, Vanessa said. Vanessa, 63, is a registered Democrat. According to Miami-Dade County voting records, Swetnick was identified on Wednesday by Avenatti, who produced a sworn statement asserting that she met Kavanaugh in the 1980 and 81 time period and subsequently attended more than 10 house parties where she said Kavanaugh and a close friend of his, Mark Judd, attended. Swetnick does not accuse Kavanaugh himself of sexually assaulting her in the sworn statement, but she asserts he was present when she was the victim of gang rape by multiple boys at one party. Vanessa made clear he did not believe her story. Quote, I have a lot of facts, evidence, and that what she's saying is not true at all. I would rather speak to my attorney first before saying more. Now you know why they don't file these complaints with these local law enforcement departments. Avenatti said, called the reporting outrageous and accused the press. Shut up, you idiot. Let's see here. Well, that's it. Mark, you don't believe her? What did I say at the beginning of the program? Her story was insane. She went to up to 10 parties at this high school where every weekend they had gang rapes. And she was in college, and she went back to this high school. What? And she never told anybody about any of it. She never told law enforcement. She never told teachers. She never told the principal. She never told her parents. She never told her friends. Not just her. None of the victims. Not a single victim. There had to be scores and scores of eyewitnesses to such a thing. Scores of victims. Scores of perpetrators. Not a thing. And Avenatti's there. Unbelievable. How did he do? All right. I don't believe this. I don't believe any of it. I really don't. And this is why she wasn't presented to testify. By the way, now that I've been sleeping on my Casper mattress, I'd pick it over every mattress I ever had. It helps me get the best night's sleep, period. Once you try a Casper, you're going to love yours, too. And the Casper is a high-quality mattress at an affordable price. I sleep cool and comfortable every night thanks to the unique combination of foams that provide the right pressure relief and alignment. Casper ships right to your door for free in a small, how do they do that size box? They'll even pick it up if you don't love it and refund you everything. From its engineering and its packaging to letting you try it for 100 nights. It's no wonder Casper has over 35,000 five-star reviews of all their products across Casper, Google, and Amazon. Put Casper to the test in your own home for 100 nights risk-free. Go to Casper.com, use code MARK for $50 towards the purchase of select mattresses. That's Casper.com, code MARK for $50 towards the purchase of select mattresses. Casper.com, terms and conditions apply. What do you think about that now, folks? What do you think about that now? And then NBC with its anonymous letter, anonymous accuser, anonymous witnesses, and that is a big story. Susan, Colorado, the great KVOR. Go ahead.
Oh, Mark, thank you so much for taking my call. And just listening to your show, it's unbelievable. I swear, I think soap operas have less twists and turns than this does. But the reason I'm calling, Mark, is I'd like to offer you another woman's perspective about all this nasty, life-altering crud that's going on for Brett Kavanaugh. I, for one, do not believe Ford or any of the other women that have since jumped on the Kavanaugh-destroying bandwagon. So just to quickly lay the framework, the reason I say this is that I myself am both an assault and rape victim from about that time frame in the 80s.
Oh, I'm sorry.
It's okay. I'm over it. I really am. But unfortunately, in my case, it wasn't even just one time. I haven't spoken of those to anyone since. I never went to counseling. I never told my family. I never reported to police. I did, however, speak of the events to certain friends at the time. And without going into any unnecessary detail on my personal experience, the only way to cope at the time was to block it out. And I, for the life of me, just cannot recall their names today. That was more than 30 years ago. I don't want to remember. One was even a long-term acquaintance, a work supervisor of mine, and I still can't recall his name or even barely remember his face. So what these women are claiming is just mind-blowing. My comparison to these women and what I'm having a hellacious time wrapping my head around is how they seem to specifically and very clearly remember it was Kavanaugh when they either did not know him or barely knew him prior to the supposed events. Yet they don't seem to know other specifics either. It just stinks a little bit. Mm-hmm. And then if the assault, and mind you, it wasn't a rape. I always, there's a big difference, though not any less concerning. But if the assault was as traumatic for Ford as she says it is, I don't believe for a second she would not have confided in one single person in her life at the time. I did, and I most definitely would have corroborators if I had to today. It just it would have just destroyed me not to have at least told one person in my life.
Well, I'm truly, truly sorry you had to experience that.
Thank you. I appreciate that. But now regarding Kavanaugh, I'm not saying he was a saint. I'm not saying that these women did not experience what they're claiming they did. I'm just saying I don't believe it's Kavanaugh. And the reason being, of course, the liberals, their motives, and their uncontrollable...
Let me just say this to you. If these were credible accusations, they would have been timely. They would have occurred during the hearing process. There would be rather than yelling for the FBI, they'd go ahead and make local police reports if that's the sort of investigation they want. And out of three women, there's not a single witness. There's not a single person who can corroborate. There's nothing.
Exactly. And not that in every case that's possible, but in these cases, the scenario they're describing...
Three cases.
Okay.
Three.
Now, it's only about very dirty politics, political stunts, shameful Hollywood elites. That fact isn't news to any of us, though it does get surprisingly uglier every day. But so, to me, considering Ford is a very liberal professor from California and her overt history of being very anti-Trump, and Ramirez is likewise very liberal and anti-Trump, just by Kavanaugh's association to him and in the name of their politics, these people, I believe, are willing to outright destroy Kavanaugh's life.
All right, my friend, I've got to roll. I really appreciate your call. Very, very wise comments, and very brave of you as well. Jason, Birmingham, Alabama, the great WZRR. Go.
Hey, Mark. Hey, something you said a while ago or earlier struck me. You were talking about the media and this kind of thing, and you likened it to Roman times. It's throwing Kavanaugh to the lions. Okay.
Right.
And in my mind, I'm thinking this is modern Roman times. Rome, I mean, that was the greatest of that time. That was the greatest empire. I mean, that was the greatest thing going.
Rome fell from within. It had cultural rot. People took things for granted, and it was an empire that lasted over 500 years.
Yeah, and why are people so feeble to not believe this is going down the same direction? It's very scary to me.
All right, my friend, I agree. We'll be right back.
Mark Levin.
Mr. Call Screener thinks I should put somebody on who says women lie all the time, huh? Do it on your own radio show. I don't do it on my show. But I think if something sounds crazy, it's crazy. If crazy people are involved in it, like Avenatti, then you need to be incredibly suspect. If people are always doing things anonymously, there's no reason to believe them, because they don't present themselves. If people are playing the system for the 11th hour, then they have a motivation other than just coming forward and explaining their own situation. If the Democrats are busy out there looking for women and find one who's reluctant, whose memory is not very good, but then 6 days later she's right on top of it, there's no reason we should believe any of this. And then when you watch MSNBC and CNN, these are propaganda machines, ladies and gentlemen. They are propaganda machines. And the sooner you just accept it, the better. That doesn't mean there's a good story here and there. But that's who they are. That's what they are. You now have Michael Avenatti, who put together a barely literate declaration for a woman. He comes forward, and it's absolutely unbelievable. It has these outrageous allegations. And I'm telling you that Dr. Ford needs to be questioned, and questioned like an adult. The bubble wrap has to come off. She needs to be questioned like an adult. She's made allegations, and they need to be tested. She needs to be treated like an adult. And this needs to be done seriously. Not wrapped in women's rights. That has nothing to do with women's rights. She's made an allegation against another human being. She's all but destroyed his character and his reputation after all these decades. She needs to step up, and she needs to be questioned. Not with all this testimony, fluff, and positioning and propaganda of her lawyers and the Democrats. As I keep saying, this is our Supreme Court. This is our Senate. These people are clowns on the Senate Judiciary Committee, the Democrats. Absolute clowns. Now, have you signed up for the free online course about how Congress is supposed to work? Congress is supposed to work. Please do it right now at levinforhillsdale.com. Hillsdale College's groundbreaking new online course, Congress, How It Used to Work and Why It Doesn't, is essential for anyone who wants to understand how Congress got so broken and how it can be fixed. The title actually sums up why you need to take this course. Hillsdale College teaches better than anyone anywhere the Constitution and how our government was designed to work to protect freedom. And in this course, you'll learn exactly what Congress should be doing and what it shouldn't, how it got to the state it's in today, and how we can start to restore a more constitutional Congress. The course is free to you, my listeners, and you can start any time. What's more, with this course, Hillsdale has created an entirely new online course experience that has to be experienced to be believed. Just go to levinforhillsdale.com, Levin for Hillsdale. Go there right now and register. It's that simple. It's free. So you shouldn't delay. Reserve your spot today at levinforhillsdale.com. That's levinforhillsdale.com. If you want to destroy all the mechanisms that have been built up over hundreds of years to try and determine the truth when you have parties in a dispute, if you agree that all of that should be destroyed, then you're left with what the Democrats have done. The entire process for determining between an accuser and an accused, the Democrats are telling you, forget about it. Believe the accusers because they're women. No, you don't have to believe the accusers because they're women. You believe an accuser if they make their case. Does Dr. Ford's accusations, do they seem based on any foundation of evidence? No. Ms. Ramirez? No. The latest one? No. The NBC News breaking story with an anonymous letter from an anonymous person with anonymous witnesses and an anonymous daughter? No. So why are we here? Because the progressive statists in Congress and in the media drag us here. Just like they want to drag us to the impeachment of our president. Just like they want to drag us all over the place as they demean us, compare us to Nazis, and call us all other kinds of names. Just remember, when you watch this hearing tomorrow, these Democrats hate you. It's not just Kavanaugh, it's not just Trump. They despise you. They despise the fact that you voted for somebody they despise. They despise the Constitution. They despise the founders and the framers. This is who they are. And they're out of the closet. Now, if this doesn't make you vote, nothing will. Nothing will. What they've done to this guy Kavanaugh, who I don't even know, what they've done to him, they can do to anybody because they're changing the rules. Smear is the name of their game. This is political terrorism. I'll say it again. That's what it is. Political terrorism. And they want anybody who would even consider serving in a high position, who has to come before the United States Senate, to fear the possibility. People try to serve their country, agree with them or not. They have families. They've worked decades, become very educated, experienced lawyers, some professors, some lower court judges. And then they come in here, they don't know what the hell hit them. Because what hit them is pure, unadulterated evil. I will see you in 30 minutes at 9:30 p.m. on the Fox News channel on Hannity. Don't miss it. We salute all you heroes out there. As I say, see you in 30 minutes, and see you tomorrow. Take care.